couple times here. Oh, it starts. Hello YouTube. So the car does start now. Ain't got no coolant in it. And the VE table, cold start table, needs tuned because it won't stay running. And it can't self-learn yet because the O2 sensor has to get heated up and yada yada yada. I don't even think it goes into that until the vehicle reaches like 100, I think it's set to 140 degrees before it'll even go into the self-tuning. So it's got to be able to start and run by itself, and usually that's in a VE table. I tune a little bit on HB tuners, and I did a little bit on Mega Squirt. I've never done the Holly or Haltech stuff, but this is through Barely Able Racing, and I got it through, and he's going to help me get this cold start tuned, and then it'll self-learn after that. But today we're going to do some coolant hoses and stuff like that. But the first thing I wanted to go over, our V band goes right there. Now if we ran that rubber loop, it would probably burn and get water on the track. We don't want to do that, you know, going 130, 140 down the track. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap these and plug them. Now I'm told if you tap these and plug them that your car will run 10 to 20 degrees hotter if there isn't some kind of circulation through here in the back. Let's turn the light on and see what we got here. See, it's got to go from that back part to the front part, or hot water just sits in there, from what I understand. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. And it'll run a little bit hotter than, you know, it should. So what a lot of people do is they'll if they block these off, they'll drill a hole over here, or they'll drill a hole in the base of that thermostat, the part that blocks this. And here's that piece on the thermostat that blocks that hole. And look, this one, it's already got holes in it. So we don't have to worry about none of that. See, this is the thermostat where it opens and closes. But then this has a function too. I don't really understand. Never seen that before. I don't know exactly what it does. I just know from reading online that if you don't have holes in this, from what I'm told and read online again, if there's not holes in this part, and you don't drill a hole so water can go from that back part to this front part, let's clean in some dirt out here, your car will run 10 to 20 degrees hotter from what I'm told. But I took this thermostat out and it's got the holes in this part already, so it's going to flow no matter what. So we don't have to worry about that, because typically, I guess this is the hot out and this is the cold back in from the heater core. And this needs to, like the hot water, a puddle right here, and then the cold water will be here, and then it takes it so long for all this. The hot water's here, so it's not opening the thermostat. And this is just from what I'm reading, guys. I don't know exactly the whole details on this, just from what I've read. The hot water a puddle in here, and then it's got no way to reach the thermostat to open the thermostat, you know, because the hot water is over here and it can't reach this side to open the thermostat, and the car actually runs 10 to 15 degrees hotter because it takes that much extra heat to heat this water up to open the thermostat. So this hot water coming down needs to be able to get into this part to open the thermostat part. So you can do that by putting holes in this part, or just looping this, or putting a hole right in here somewhere so it can come through. But again, like I said, ours has these holes already in it, so we don't have to worry about it. It's going to flow through this to that front part, and hit the thermostat and open the thermostat. So we're good on that. We don't have to worry about that. We're not running the rubber lines again because because our V-band's right here, and that's really the only place I could put it because probably making me all dizzy. Look how low that K member is. You know, not a lot of room in here. So we're gonna plug these. I got a tap and a die. A tap. This is they're 1/2 inch and 3/8, and apparently they're already the correct size. All you gotta do is tap them. So we're gonna try to tap those and get them as straight as we can. And we're gonna take the exhaust off just so we can get in here better. And we're gonna tap them and put a plug in them. All right, here's the 3/8 inch tap. It's a big one. So I'm gonna put that down in there like that right there. We're gonna try to get it as straight as possible. I'm just gonna eyeball it and try to get it as straight as possible. And I can get a socket to fit on the end of that, but I can't get a wrench to fit on the end. So, but we're gonna go in and out, in and out. Go in probably 1/2 a turn, out a quarter, and a 1/2 turn, out a quarter, etc. And we're gonna, as we go, we're gonna check it with our little plug. Now, the plug, these are MPT threads. That means the threads are tapered. You want the threads to tighten up before the end of this tightens up against that. You want it to tighten up on the threads. So if you thread the hole too deep, this won't even tighten up. The tapered threads won't tighten up on each other, and you're going to have a leak. So when you tighten this up, I got it. When you tighten this up, it should tighten up on the threads, and there should still be threads showing. If you tighten this all the way up and it still feels loose and the nut part is up against the pump, you've messed up. It's not going to seal. You want the threads to tighten up, and once you get this tight, there should still be threads showing, a little bit of thread showing. All right, just because that's the way these work. They're tapered thread. All right, I screwed it in until it finally bit. Man, it looks pretty straight to me. Just eyeballing it, guys. Yeah, that looks straight to me. Top and bottom. Now we'll screw it in a little, screw it out a little, screw it in a little, screw it out a little. Check the bolt. Screw it in, out. Check the bolt. Now we gotta. Oh, forgot to mention, using some WD-40 to lube it too. Took the bit out and cleaned it up a little, and we'll go a little bit more. That's how far away. Air compressor was running. I took it out and cleaned the hole out and cleaned my grooves off on my tap here, but I'm just going like this. Forward, back, forward, back. Pull it out, clean everything up, check it. And then y'all see where we're at once we get there. Alright, I tightened her all the way up. As far as it'll go, it looks pretty straight. But we want to go a little bit deeper than that. Maybe it is crooked a little bit. No, looks pretty straight to me. It can be a little crooked. It's still going to seal. But yeah, straighter the better. So this one right here, there's a little lip inside there. I've hit it a little right there above my thumbnail. But I needed to go farther back, so we're going to try to push through that a little if we can. This one on the other side, it don't have that lip. Alright, that's about where I want it. About where I want it. It looks pretty even to me. You know, I just eyeballed it to test it good. Yeah. That's exactly what I want. It tightened up on the threads before it got to the head of the nut. On these MPT, that's what you want. You want it to tighten up on the threads, those beveled threads, before it gets to the nut part. So we're going to go ahead and do this one now with a 1/2 inch. That was 3/8. And there it is, screwed all the way out, so you know how much it went in there. It goes in about that far. Good enough. It's angry outside. I had to shut the doors. They were windless, blowing them everywhere. But you think this bigger one would be easier? It's not. It's harder. It's hard to get it started. I've been putting it in the hole, and then I've been using a screwdriver to kind of pry on the back of it as I turn it. Try to get it started, but I have to get it started, and I've been fighting with it for about 15 minutes. But we'll get her if we don't flood away. The rain don't carry us away. Alright, use this ultra copper gasket maker. Put them on the threads real good and screw them in. That big one was a pain in the butt. I don't know why, but it was. I finally got her. Hopefully they don't leak. If they do leak, we'll tap them a little bit more and do it again. I'm sure that's fine. Alright guys, here's what we got. This radiator is 1.5 inches on both sides. Now, the water pump down here on these motors is 1.5 inches. But I tried to get the truck one to work right through here. The truck lower radiator hose, it wouldn't work. But it worked if I cut it and used the small block Chevy from when we was running small block Chevy, this part, and then cut it to that part and put 1.5 inch coupler in there. Alright, so up top, this is 1.25 inches. That's 1.5 inches. So what I did was I got 1.5 inches to 1.25 inch coupler, barred coupler, whatever you want to call it. And then just use the small block Chevy hose from there. See, it's not hitting either. But I came around. And this is 1/4 inch, 1.25 to 1.25 with 1/8 inch MPT. And I put a 1/4 inch board fitting on it. And that's going to run right there. So that's going to be our steam vent for our heads. That's going to vent up here. And that's going to be it. I need to get a couple more hose clamps. I need a 1/4 inch hose. And then I need 2 more hose clamps. And then I need the small hose clamps and a 1/4 inch hose. I don't think I got any. But yeah, that's what those hose adapter barb things look like. That's a 1.25 to... No, that's a 1.5 to 1.5 right there. That's what I used right there. But yeah, that's a 1.25 to 1.5. That's a 1.25 to 1.25 with an 1/8 inch MPT. And then I got an 1/8 inch MPT to 90-degree 1/4 inch barb. Yes. That'll do it. Now, when I put water in this thing, I learned this the hard way on. When I did my 5.3, it overheated right off the bat. And you fill these things up with water. Fill them up there first. If you got the LS one that sticks straight out, put a hose on it. Hold the hose up. Fill it up here. Fill the block up through here. Because if you fill the radiator up, the thermostat's closed. And it won't go from the thermostat to the block. Or it won't go from the radiator to the block. Because the thermostat's keeping it from getting in there. And it ain't going to go that way. So fill the block up first. I'm going to fill the block up all the way until water starts coming out there. Or here. Or whatever. And then I'll fill this up next. And then I'll go back and forth to make sure they're both full. Alright, I filled it up from here. And then I start filling up the radiator. And it's burping itself. Look. Oh, now it's not going to do it. There it goes. Yeah. It's burping itself. And ta-da! Finished product. Low radiator hose, upper radiator hose, and steam vent. All I could find was this clear gas for lawnmower gas line and 1/4 inch. So yeah, there we go. That'll work. That'll work. I like it. That's how we're going to do the radiator hoses. Now, Christopher might get another radiator, and we might put the turbo over here. We might put the turbo over here, up inside there, and just get a smaller radiator. If that's the case, we just shorten that one. Not a problem. Not a problem. I'm going to put the exhaust back on it, and it won't stay running because the cold start tune needs adjusted. So I'm going to try to see if I can't figure that out. If not, Barely Able Racing, I bought it off them. He said he'd give me an hour of tuning to get everything lined out. Once you get it started and running cold, and it tunes itself. It tries to target what AFR you put in cells through the wideband and stuff. But yeah, that's it, guys. Next video, hopefully this thing will be moving on its own power. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.